We start in the courts, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfred Yeboah-Dame says he will challenge the Court of Appeal ruling which acquitted and discharged Minority Leader Dr. Casey Latteforting and a businessman. The AJ argues the decision is inimical to fight against impunity and abuse of office.
Minority Leader Dr. Casey Latteforting, businessman Richard Jakpa, and former Chief Director of the Ministry of Health, Sylvester Animana, in January 2022 were accused of willfully causing financial loss to the Republic to the tune of €2.37 million through the purchase of ambulances. The court in March 2023 ruled that the three accused persons have a case to answer after prosecutors had called witnesses to testify. The three accused persons, however, headed to the Court of Appeal to challenge this ruling. The Attorney General later discontinued the case against Sylvester Animana, but continued with the trial against Richard Jakpa and the Minority Leader. The Court of Appeal on July 30 acquitted and discharged the two after it found that the High Court was wrong in ordering them to open their defense.
The case is over. We just want to thank them. That's all. Just to thank the committee. Just to thank them both.
For law lecturer Dr. Justice Remsai, the ruling from the Court of Appeal does not come as a surprise.
This was so predictable, and it's entirely from the turn of events in the High Court. The only question you have to ask yourself to get to this point, to know that this case was bound to end this way, was that if the Attorney General was so confident in his case, would he have been having those conversations? Once you think about this question, and you listen to the tape, you have no doubt in your mind that an end of this kind was about to happen.
Lawyer Martin Pegbu adds the Attorney General should resign.
The High Court trial is such an embarrassment. It's embarrassed us as a nation. It's shown on the Attorney General that he has taken us through such an embarrassing attitude as a country. With this article of Article 2, Dr. Dame must resign.
Reacting to the ruling from the Court of Appeal, the excited Richard Jakpa could not hide his excitement. He said the ruling reinforces his trust in the legal system.
This is the day the Lord has made. I must rejoice in it. My enemies and detractors have been put to shame. I've been vindicated. I'm a happy man. I'm a free man. All those allegations that they level against me, trying to dent my integrity because of the conduct of the crooked Attorney General of Federal, it hasn't worked. We still have judges of integrity in this country that we uphold fidelity to the law. So it's a good news for that.
While the Attorney General considers the decision of the Court of Appeal unfair and has vowed to appeal it, Richard Jakpa says he is ready for whatever the AG will throw at him.
He's Attorney General. So you can go to the Supreme Court, and even after the Supreme Court ruling, you can still go for review if he so pleases. It's a legal process. And I'm a combatant. I'm a warrior. I'm ready for every battle. So if you want to go to the Supreme Court, I'll meet him there.
The Attorney General says the decision will be challenged as it is grossly unfair to the nation and inimical to the fight against impunity and abuse in public office. Noble Crosby and TV3 News, Accra.
Well, the minority in Parliament has meanwhile welcomed the decision, maintaining any further appeal will be unsuccessful.
By a 2-1 decision, the Court of Appeal upheld that the decision by the High Court for him to proceed with a submission of his case had no legal basis, and therefore did not only discharge him but acquitted him. That is what we are celebrating, and he's invited to celebrate us. Now, Mr. Speaker, I hear the Attorney General, even instead of swallowing his humble pride, is saying that he wants to litigate on this matter. Mr. Speaker, we assure him that he will be further disgraced because this matter if you want to try people, try them on matters which are legally meritorious. Letters of credit are mere guarantees. I can go into the matter. This is parliamentary chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, the minority here is celebrating the independent, courageous decision of the Court of Appeal.
Speaker, it must never be said, that the judiciary is under the control of the executive. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Harun Edrisu is a courtroom practitioner, just as I am. You were a courtroom practitioner. One of the things that we were taught at the bar was to accept the decisions of the court. And when we are not happy, we should go up. And that is how we enrich the law. So I think that in his celebration, he shouldn't use this as a forum to attack the Attorney General who has no right of audience here. I celebrate in your victory. And you know how much it means to democracy in this country. Minority leader on trial, you've gone through the system, your belief in the judiciary system. Today, on all fours, I don't take alcohol, but I can offer you a non-alcoholic wine. I know Ati doesn't take alcohol either. Anytime we go for lunch, it is fruit juice. So I will offer him fruit juice. But I would want my brother Ato and all colleagues to know that judiciary and their independence must be respected.
Well, former President John Dramani Mahama says the AJ must back off the case. He has been speaking exclusively to my colleague Komla Kluche.
I think that this Attorney General has been discredited enough. Anywhere in the world, with the things we've seen and the coaching of witnesses and discussion with witnesses, this prosecution would have been struck out as malicious prosecution. I believe this prosecution is malicious. He is not as, robust and energetic in pursuing cases that are okay. Even just as we're talking, there's an ambulance case involving this present administration, which is hugely larger than what he's prosecuting, and yet he has no interest in that. He is like a legal representative of the MPP party, over-enthusiastic in pursuing political opponents. I've said that when we come, it will be the reverse. We will pursue accountability for the regime that has gone out. But at the same time, if any of our people are involved in the same things that have happened for which we're prosecuting the opposition, we would, the previous government would prosecute them too. And so I think that the Attorney General is also the Minister of Justice. He forgets that. He thinks that he's just the Attorney General. The Minister of Justice is supposed to ensure fairness. Anywhere else in this world, this case would have been, he would never even have come to court, not to talk about talking with witnesses, having conversations with witnesses and trying to tell them what to do. Yeah, this case should have truncated long ago.
Now let's head to Parliament. And after more than 2 decades of multiple parliamentary deliberations, Ghana's Parliament has passed the Affirmative Action Bill. The bill requires government to set progressive targets for achievement of gender equity in public office, governance and decision-making processes.
Honourable members, those in favour of the third reading of the bill, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The Affirmative Action Gender Equality Bill 2024, Bill 2024, now Affirmative Action Gender Equity Act 2024, duly read the third time and passed. An act to provide up at the public gallery, and it's not just today. They have been with us throughout. It's not been easy. We need to move together. It is not a bill for just women. It's a bill for all of us. It's a bill for development. This is the first stage. We have passed the law. We have to appropriate adequate resources for the ministry to lead the implementation of the provisions that we have enacted. So we've just started. Don't let's celebrate and don't really put in place the vision that we have created for the country.
Meanwhile, gender advocate and journalist Shamima Muslim says President Akufo-Addo must assent to the bill when it gets to his office. She adds that stakeholders must commit to the implementation and the consent of the bill.
So I expect that the president will quickly assign his signature to the bill and gazette it, let it become law, and quickly commit. Because I think one of the criticisms against President Akufo-Addo is that he hasn't shown enough commitment. Also because of his statement when he went to Canada at the Women's Deliver Conference to say that Ghanaian women hadn't shown enough dynamism is really what created a lot of concern amongst us, because it was in one stroke downplaying the varied and various contributions that women have and continue to play. For me, one of the things we must look at is the areas that remain for the glass ceilings to be broken. The political sphere is one of the most important transformative aspects that we must look at.
Let's do some education stories. And the Minister of Education, Dr. Yawase Aduchum, has debunked claims that government is focusing more on senior high school education to the detriment of basic schools. The minister, at a conference to highlight the state of Ghana's education so far, said massive infrastructural projects and developments are ongoing in public basic school, most of which would be ready in the next academic year in September.
The Education Minister gave an account of what has been done in the education sector since 2017. He said government has taken giant steps to transform and improve infrastructure in all levels of education, comprising primary, junior high, senior high, tertiary and technical and vocational education. Dr. Yawase Aduchum disagreed with comments that government is overly concentrating on the senior high schools to the detriment of the basic education.
The new junior high school in the Republic of Ghana. In a town with 7 junior high schools, when we build this, all the old buildings will be deserted and abandoned, and we'll move all the students into a building like this. In a junior high school where we have biology, chemistry, and physics lab, a STEM lab, that is the 21st century junior high school. For all those who talk about the government has abandoned basic schools, not true. These are all new buildings across the country that has been done.
He presented pictorial evidence to buttress his point. In the recent mid-year budget by the Finance Minister, it was indicated that 9.9 billion cedis has so far been expended on the free SHS since its inception in 2017. The Sector Minister stated that Cabinet has improved a proposal to ensure a compulsory free secondary education in the country.
In the tertiary education space, 6 universities are going to be opened by the end of the year. The construction is completed, and we have the bills in Parliament, and the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education is going to be working on them so that we can get the act that will establish them, beginning with University of Engineering and Applied Sciences.
The minister said at the tertiary level, a lot is also being done, including policies that would further improve the literacy and skills development of students.
We Ghanaians should be the software developers of Africa. And that's why I'm super excited that we have STEM centers where our youth are learning robotics. They are learning the kind of things that are being learned around the world. This is the Accra STEM Center at Accra High School. Students in the neighborhood comes there to learn the new software that is available. By the time they get to the high school, they will be ahead of the rest of the world. This is the present and the future of Ghana's education system.
Let's do education now. The Ghana Registered, or health now. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, has expressed fears of renewed agitations from next week. This follows a decision by the Ministry of Health for financial clearance of 15,200 nurses and midwives to cover the 2020 to 2024 batch of nurses and midwives. President of GRNMA, Perpetual Furiampofo, spoke exclusively with our Labour correspondent, Daniel Upuku, in Accra.
After issuing the financial clearance for the 15,200 nurses, tensions have begun rising among the nurses and midwives. Reports suggest that these nurses and midwives are at a loss as to which batch does the financial clearance cover. Already, there are about 40,000 nurses and midwives from 2021 to date, which are yet to receive financial clearance. The president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, Perpetual Furiampofo, fears there could be more agitations from next week.
It affects the government in total. How does it affect me? If somebody is at home and waiting to be employed and knows that if a financial clearance has come, obviously because we are the next batch awaiting employment, it's our turn. And then to see that other batches behind that individual is now getting employed, that is where the problem will be.
She again asked the Ministries of Finance and Health to secure another financial clearance for the remaining nurses and midwives.
My interest as president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, representing the interests of our younger colleagues who have also qualified to be employed, is to see to it that they get their posting done and they are able to practice what they have been trained to do. If financial clearance has come, it is a reward for the hard work we have all put in terms of engagements that have gone on over the past period. So if the clearance has come, it is good news. It is the application of the clearance that we are sensing that based on the communication that has recently come from the Ministry of Health, it may be problematic.
Well, that's our wrap of the 6 a.m. news right here on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. A pleasure coming to you. Stay tuned for the rest of New Day.